Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Soul School Network. This is our regular Sunday circle. My name is Greg. I'm hosting today, but we do have a special guest who is a longtime member and founder of the Soul School Network. Today is a National Indigenous Day in Canada. And I know there are different Indigenous days around the world. But today we're going to focus on Indigenous spirituality. But before we get there, let's start off with a grounding meditation. Orianka is here with us live to walk us through that, and then we'll introduce Michael right afterwards. Orianka?
Yes, let's do this. I'm going to invite everyone to close your eyes and focus on your breathing. Allow yourself to breathe in and out in a way that feels relaxing. Just breathing in and out, in and out. We're going to start by scanning our bodies to find any places where there might be tension or stress or any other heavy energy that you are ready to let go of. First, we're going to just scan our bodies from head to toe without making any meaning of it, simply observing. Is there any cloud of this kind of heavy energy, perhaps on your head? Scan your face, the back of your head, the neck, shoulders. We're going to scan one arm and then the other, all the way to your hands. Your chest, belly, your back, all the way down to the final bone on your spine. We're going to scan one leg and then the other, all the way down to your feet. Is there any tension that you found somewhere? You might have found one, a few, or maybe many. It's all good. Now we're going to intentionally gather all of those clouds of heavy energy, of tension, and we're going to have them go down, move down to the soles of your feet. They will gather there, and from the soles of your feet, you're going to send that heavy energy to Mother Earth. Mother Earth will take care of that energy, will transform it into life-giving energy. Now you can take another deep breath of release. Now connect with Mother Earth through the soles of your feet. You can observe how roots are growing into the ground. You're growing roots that become stronger, deeper, connecting to Mother Earth, going all the way into Mother Earth to the center of the earth. And the more you grow your roots into the earth, the more grounded you become. You are grounded and centered. You are grounded and centered. Receiving the love of the mother. Being held by the mother. Feeling safe in the arms of the mother. Receive, let it feel good. And so it is. And so it is. And so it is. You can slowly now go back to focusing your attention on your breathing. Breathing in and out. Allowing yourself to be relaxed, present, grounded in this moment. In and out. In and out. You can slowly start moving your fingers, your toes. You can move your body very gently and open up your eyes when you feel ready. Mm-hmm. Okay, we're ready, Sue.
Thank you, Koryanka, and thank you, Sue. We appreciate that. That gives us a good way to get our discussion and our guest speaker ready for today's celebration. Welcome, everyone. It's June 21st, 2026. This is Soul School Network Sunday Circle. Today is a special day in a number of ways. First of all, happy Father's Day to all of the fathers who are watching our program here on Zoom and also on YouTube. It's summer solstice in the Northern Hemisphere, so a great time to be thankful for all that summer brings, including the harvest. And it's winter solstice in the Southern Hemisphere here, so as we get ready for winter. It's also Indigenous Peoples Day in Canada. It's a celebration at different times of the year around the world, but we're blessed to have Michael Swinwood here with us. Michael is a founder of Soul School Network, but he's also a lawyer in Canada, and he's been working with Indigenous people and groups for the past, well, more than 3 decades, really. And Michael has a huge amount of insight into Indigenous spirituality. This is something he's been studying along with his studying of his study on various spiritual practices. And so Michael's going to join us today, tell us a little bit about his story, and also some of the key messages really that we can draw from the spirituality of the Indigenous people, not just in North America, but around the world. So Michael, welcome.
Thank you very much, Greg. Much appreciated.
Michael, do you want to just start off with a little bit of a sharing with us what sort of brought you into your connection with the Indigenous? Some of us have heard it before, but it's always good to hear how it became important in your life.
Well, I have to start off by honoring my elder grandfather, William Commanda, who passed away August the 3rd, 2011. So almost 15 years now that grandfather's transitioned into the spirit world. I think all of my family, Susan, myself, and all of my children still feel the presence of William Commanda in our lives as a guide. And he definitely is present in my life as a guide, without a doubt. I should really reflect on having 3 major mentors in my life who influenced the direction I eventually took, which is the Red Road. The first mentor was Father Athol Murray in Wilcox, Saskatchewan. I attended Notre Dame College there in 1964 to 1968. and were formative years when I was around 17 to 21. And Per Athol Murray was an incredible influence on my growth. My ability to maneuver through the world was deeply influenced by this incredible orator, incredible philosopher, an incredible man. And he influenced so many people through his teachings, but most importantly, his example. He was someone who was ecumenical before his time. He built the Tower of God in Wilcox, Saskatchewan. 4 walls, one to the Jewish religion, one to the Muslim religion, one to the Christian religion, and one to the great thinkers of the world. This was a reflection of this man's mind. So he greatly influenced me. And what, upon reflection, looking back, we had our meals in something called Lane Hall. And covering all the walls were pictures of Cree warriors painted by Grand Maison. Grand Maison was a very famous artist during those times. And all of the walls were filled with Cree warrior faces, which obviously had an impact on me in a subconscious way. The next mentor, of course, was Grandfather William Commanda. And I can measure the time that we have known Grandfather by virtue of the fact that our daughter Allura will be 30 this July. And she was 20 days old when we met Grandfather William Commanda for the first time. Susan and I and Allura, the little baby. And Grandfather William Commanda was in Maniwaki at his residence, where he held a spiritual gathering every year. And I'll never forget the moment walking down the hill towards the Arboretum and this figure coming towards us. And it was William Commanda. And from that moment until this moment, he's been a presence in our life and a deep influence. And everything I know in relation to Indigenous comes from William Commanda. He taught me in a way that is so loving. It's very emotional. As I look out on the window here, I'm looking at a clear blue sky, incredible, beautiful mountains. And I bless William Commanda for assisting Susan and I and Greg to be here. It's through our knowing of him that we are here. The most important aspect of William Commanda is love, compassion, and forgiveness. He walked, he talked, he breathed love and compassion. He would often say, I know what you people did to me and my people, but we forgive you. We just simply want to talk the truth. And of course, he echoed that throughout his life until he passed at the age of 97, with his last conversation being with his nurse, Susan. You can't write this. You just can't. And reflecting upon talking about Indigenous spirituality, I hearken back to the time that we began with Grandfather. And we came upon a book written by Stephen McFadden entitled Profiles in Wisdom. And I highly recommend that you try and find that book, Profiles in Wisdom by Stephen McFadden. In that book is featured grandfather William Commanda, and then the third mentor that I've had in my life, Willaru Waita. And we met Willaru through grandfather as a result of grandfather organizing a gathering on Victoria Island behind the Supreme Court of Canada in Ottawa in 1998. And we were able to bring Willaru up from Cusco, Peru. Now, how did we come to know Willaru? In 1994, I came upon an article entitled The Awakening, and it was 6 pages, and I couldn't believe it. I had probably spent 16 years studying esoteric books, Gnosticism, and I read in 6 pages 16 years of what I had been studying. And what was amazing about it was that what was captured in those 6 pages was all of that information that I had accumulated surrounding elders, surrounding Indigenous spirituality. In the article, The Awakening, Willaru Waita was the author who had written that we're all sons and daughters of the sun, and that we're living in times of a great change, and that it is time for the awakening to occur. Which brings me to essentially what grandfather taught me at the very beginning, was that Indigenous spirituality is interpreted through prophecy. And of course, the prophecies that really struck me, because he shared them all with me, were the 3 main prophecies: the white buffalo calf prophecy, the eagle and condor prophecy, and the 7 fires prophecy, which was the wampum belt that grandfather carried, a sacred wampum belt entitled the 7 fires prophecy. And all of these prophecies tie together. They all have a meaning in our lives, specifically my family's life, all my children, Susan and I. We have participated in many, many gatherings with grandfather William Commanda, where these prophecies were discussed. I was given the privilege by grandfather William Commanda to read the 7 fires prophecy whenever he brought the belts out to present all over the United States and Mexico, Canada. I mean, it was an incredible privilege that grandfather bestowed upon me to allow me to be seen, if you will, to be seen as part of what grandfather William Commanda represented. And so what is an elder? And I encounter this in all the court work I do on behalf of Indigenous people. I'm presently acting for an elder on a forestry case matter, and I'm stunned by the ignorance of judges, lawyers, and the general population about what an elder represents in the Indigenous culture. I was asked a question early on by a government official asking me, what is the core culture of the Indigenous people? How does that define? How could someone define that for me? And my answer to him was, well, the answer is with the elders. And his retort was, elders? Well, like, what are they? And I said, well, these are the wisdom keepers of the Indigenous people. And the wisdom keepers of the Indigenous people have a very special place in the Indigenous community. They're honored and respected. They're not like our society, where they're warehoused and unfortunately put away and not listened to. Whereas in contrast, in the Indigenous world, the elders who make a choice, by the way, to walk a spiritual path. It is said that an elder becomes eligible to be an elder at the age of 52, because 52 is the cycle, 52 years it takes for the Pleiades to make a full circle. And so the age of 52 is the marker for eligibility to become an elder. And to become an elder, you must represent the spirituality of the Indigenous people, the idea of ceremony. What is a sacred fire? What does the drum represent? What does storytelling represent? What is it that you hold as a sacred bundle to remind yourself of the task at hand, which is you are there to serve, service. That is the central key to the issue of an elder's walk, a grandmother, a grandfather. And we were so privileged to walk with grandfather and his sacred firekeeper through so many Indigenous communities filled with wisdom keepers. Grandmother Sarah Smith from Six Nations, Dawani Yawahu from Vermont, Hunbat's Men from Mexico, Arvil Looking Horse from Lakota, on and on and on. Now, yesterday was National Prayer Day, and Arvil Looking Horse hosted a prayer day in Butte, Montana. And of course, Arvil Looking Horse is the holder of the 19th generation pipe of White Buffalo Calf Woman. And White Buffalo Calf Woman is said to be the woman who appeared to the Lakota people 20 centuries ago now, 19 or 20 generations ago. And she brought to the Lakota people the spiritual pipe. And so the spiritual pipe was presented to the Lakota people. The stem represents the male, the bowl represents the female, and the conjoining of male and female. And the smoke from the pipe represents the prayer. And it's much deeper than what I've just given you as a Reader's Digest version of the pipe. But essentially, the spiritual teachings are contained in the spiritual pipe held by Arvil Looking Horse. And of course, what she did, White Buffalo Calf Woman, was she gave to the Lakota people a prophecy. And it's called the White Buffalo Calf Prophecy. And I'm sure many of you heard it from me before, but it doesn't matter whether you heard it before, because today we're here to celebrate National Prayer Day, Indigenous Day, and White Buffalo Calf Woman, who said to them, "You will know the changing times are upon you when there is born a white buffalo calf. That white buffalo calf, you will know it is the white buffalo calf of the prophecy, because on the day of its birth, the father will die, evidencing the death of the patriarchal system and evidencing the rebirth of the matriarchal system. You will know the white buffalo calf because it will change colors, all colors of humanity, and go back to white." So on August the 3rd, 1994, in Janesville, Wisconsin, born to white ranchers, was the white buffalo calf. They named it Miracle. An Algonquin elder of our knowing, Michael Bastine, went to Janesville, Wisconsin, and he came back with a postcard on the white buffalo calf with the hair of the white buffalo calf on the back. Same with this one, with the hair. It had turned brown at that time that he was there to see the white buffalo calf. Many elders went to Janesville, Wisconsin to pay their respects and honor what they basically saw as the fulfillment of the prophecy. Why? Because the day of the birth of Miracle, the father died of a brain aneurysm. And of course, the white buffalo calf changed all colors of humanity, going back to white, fulfilling the prophecy. That was 1994. 2004, I was asked to go and speak to people about Willaruwaita and Cusco, Peru, and the Sacred Valley. And we had just returned, so I had all sorts of pictures, and I brought them with me. And when I was leaving, a woman stopped my car and she said, "You have white buffalo calf energy all around you." And then she proceeded to take out of her trunk this in her ceremonial bag that she kept. And she said, "I have been doing ceremony with this white buffalo calf for 4 years with elders. And I was in a sweat lodge a couple of months ago, and I was told this white buffalo calf, I have to give it to someone." And she said, "It's you." And she gifted me the white buffalo calf, which I then brought to an elder I was working with in Alberta at the time, a woman named Yellow Dust Woman, who was just an incredible elder. And I brought the white buffalo calf to her and said, this is the story. This is my relationship to the story, going back to 1994, going back to grandfather William Commanda, et cetera, et cetera. And so she said, "Okay, you sit here." And she took the white buffalo calf and she went into her room. And she was there for a good 20 minutes. And then she called me in. When I went in, I could hardly see. It was so filled with sage. The smell of sage and the cloud of sage was just overwhelmingly beautiful. And then she handed it to me and she said, "Here, this is a symbol. You are to carry this symbol on behalf of the people that have entrusted to you the idea that you represent them. And you take it out whenever you can, but you honor this as a symbol of a reminder of what it is that you're to do on behalf of the Indigenous people." So, of course, the white buffalo calf goes with me everywhere. And it does represent deeply the whole concept of what prophecy is about. Look, you're in the changing times. We all know we're in the changing times. And we all see exactly what's going forward. And that brings me to the next two prophecies, the eagle and the condor. So here is a condor feather, and here is an eagle feather. And the eagle and the condor, these feathers have been exchanged between grandfather William Commanda and Willaroo Waita in several ceremonies in Canada, particularly at grandfather's place of gathering. Willaroo came and exchanged the condor feather, and grandfather exchanged the eagle feather. So all of this has transpired. Beside the white buffalo, I have this crystal. And this crystal, to me, represents the concept of the eagle and the condor in one crystal. And the eagle and the condor, I want to read to you the prophecy of the Wena Olapak, which is the prophecy of the eagle and the condor as written by the Inca. When the condor of the south comes together with the eagle of the north, the spirit of Mother Earth, Pachamama, will awake. Then she will awake millions of her children. This will be the resurrection of the dead. Now, isn't that quite an unusual rendition of the eagle and the condor? The resurrection of the dead, the resurrection of those who are sleeping. And Mother Earth is there to awaken her. She's there to awaken the humanity that sits upon her. Because Mother Earth is raising in consciousness. Now, isn't this the core of indigenosity in the end? Isn't this the core of the spirituality of the indigenous people, the relationship to Mother Earth? And many elders have said this to me. Mother Earth gives everything that you need: food, shelter, beauty, everything that you require. Everything is given by Mother Earth. Water, earth, air, fire, all the elements combined in nature. And he said, the only thing we have to give back is our behavior. And our behavior, as you can tell worldwide, is not informed in a way that would allow Mother Earth to be comforted, to be cared for, to be honored, and to be respected. This relationship to the Mother Earth in indigenous people speaks to the concept of love and compassion, forgiveness, everything that Grandfather William Commanda taught all the time, or those virtues. And the ceremony, the drum, the sacred fire, the dancing, all of this is to show respect and show honor for the Creator, for the Sun, for the Mother Earth, for the Grandmother Moon, for the star people and the stars themselves. You see, from the indigenous perspective, we're all star people that we came from. We essentially came from an absolute sun, which sits behind this physical sun. And we were taught a beautiful prayer in relation to salutation to the sun, something that you could do every day. Unveil to us the face of the true spiritual sun, hidden by a disk of golden light, that we may know the truth and do our whole duty as we journey to thy sacred feet. It's a wonderful, wonderful prayer. It takes you maybe 3 minutes to walk out and find the sun and say the prayer and come to the realization that you are a cosmic being, a spiritual being, having a physical experience. It's quite incredible the way that indigenous spirituality links so well with Hinduism, with Buddhism, with the true teachings of Yeshua, with the true teachings of Krishna. All of these weave together. Well, why do you think indigenous people weave? Because they are conscious of the tapestry of existence. And that tapestry of existence has a relationship in their view to the concept of prophecy, the living of prophecy, the understanding of prophecy, and then the fulfillment of prophecy. Which brings me to the third prophecy, which is embedded in the Seven Fires prophecy of Grandfather William Commanda's wampum belt. And what the Seven Fires prophecy described is basically 7 fires, so 7 generations, and what would happen in those generations. And it's way too long for me to recite each one, but I'll bring myself to the 7th fire. And the question that was posited by the 7 fires prophecy was, will the 8th fire be lit? And so in the 7th fire, and we are now in the time of the 7th fire, it is said that humanity will come to a fork in the road, and they will have to make a decision. And that fork in the road to the left is technology and the development, the explosion of technology. And the right-handed path is the spiritual path. And so that's exactly the choice that we have in front of us right now. Right now, you can go down the AI path and slither away like they will. Or you can choose the spiritual path. And you can choose that as being the focus of your attention and the understanding that then you must develop. Because when you begin to go down the spiritual path, you come to the realization that you truly are a spiritual being having a physical experience. And the challenges of having a physical experience, all the while recognizing you're a spiritual being, are challenging. They're not easy because it's not meant to be. It's meant to be initiation. You are meant to be in initiation. This is what happens in the Indigenous world. In the Indigenous world, everything is initiated. The birth is initiated, celebrated, looked upon, named, etc. Then when a person goes from youth to manhood or womanhood, it's honored through initiatory practice. Everyone takes notice and everyone supports. This is the idea of communion. And communion is something more than taking a host with wine. Communion is coming together in union, oneness. And this is what Indigenous spirituality represents. Grandfather said it all the time. One mind, one prayer, and one body, one soul. It is oneness that brings everything about. The connection to Hinduism is unbelievable and unmistakable. And why is that? Why is it that we have this synchronicity, if you will, between Yeshua, Buddha, Krishna, Grandfather William Commanda, Willaru Waita, all of the elders, the wisdom keepers throughout? Where does it come from? And we know this, that it comes from the creative force, and it steps down seven dimensions, 7 musical scales, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Step down the 7, so that by the time you come to the 7, you're in the physical world now, and you're in a lower octave than you were up here where you came from. And where you came from is star-seeded through the cosmos. It's incredible, the relationship between the 7 sacred planets and the Mother Earth. And Grandfather William Commanda, I was sitting with him one day beside a sacred lake, and he had a notebook, and he opened the notebook and he showed me a drawing that he had made sitting on the side of the lake one afternoon and one evening. And it was star people. Really, it was just like these orbs that they talk about. Grandfather drew them on his little thing and said, "This is extraterrestrial." And he just looked at me and said, "We all come from the stars." We were in a ceremony one time in Mexico. No, I'm sorry, it was Texas. And Susan and I were up early in the morning, and we go to this sunrise ceremony with this Mayan elder. And he was a very tiny man. And it was kind of an earth-like pedestal. It was just something that had grown out of the earth. It was like a pedestal that you could stand on and speak to people. And so he got up, and then he brought out a boom box, and he started this little, and he did this little dance. That was very, very cool. And then he stopped, turned the boom box off, and he said, "Good morning. I'm Mayan. I come from the Pleiades." He said, we came from the Pleiades and we helped out the Greek civilization, and then we went back. And then we came down and we helped out another civilization, and then we went back. I said, and then we came down and we're here to help you. Have a nice day. So the ideas that are embedded in the idea of the Mayans, I mean, you go look at the hieroglyphs on the temples in Mexico or Guatemala or any of the places where you see hieroglyphs on the temple walls, and they represent as astronauts. They represent as being in ships that came to the earth. they represent as being star people who are among us. And the fact is, everyone here is a star person. Everyone. There's not a person here who isn't a star person with a purpose, a purpose. And that purpose comes from the high dimensions, the illuminated ones. If you come to Peru and you go look at Machu Picchu or Sacsayhuaman or any sacred site, and you tell me that a human being made this, I'm going to laugh right in your face. And I'm going to say, sorry, that's not possible. That's not possible. It's a ha-ha. We were in Mexico and I had a big debate with one of the guides who was going on saying, oh yeah, they hauled these 40-ton, 100-ton rocks and placed them perfectly, symmetrically, like you couldn't even put a piece of thread in there. They hauled that in and they made that. No, they didn't. It was illuminated ones. So you see, the relationship that we have in terms of Indigenous spirituality is a direct one with spirit. It's a cognition. It's a knowing. It's a raising of consciousness to meet yourself. S with a capital S, yourself, which is your soul. And what's embedded in you is a knowing, a knowledge. You relate to what I'm talking about in terms of Indigenous spirituality because it's in your own blood. The return of the Inca, you're looking at them. All of you are the return of the Inca because that connection that you each personally have with the Indigenous spirituality that you're attracted to is within you. There's no doubt in my mind. And as Martha Creek coined the phrase, if you don't go within, you'll go without. And that's what the elders are there to represent. The elders are there to represent to humanity that the walk in the mind that we all take, that we all engage in, that walk in the mind can be directed towards the purpose of existence. And the purpose of your existence is to take in the light, hold the light, cast the light, and assist with the awakening, which is upon the Mother Earth. We are in the time of prophecy. We are living prophecy every single day. And as things unfold and they seem to get more confusing, and they seem to be in a situation of despair, lack of hope, and all of the negative things that can be brought up in that walk through the mind can be cast aside and reflect on the prophecies of the white buffalo calf, eagle and the condor, and the seven fires prophecy. We're all inextricably headed towards a grand awakening, and we're here to be able to cast the light. We are a family of light, as Barbara Marciniak sets out in her book, The Bringers of the Dawn. We're all children of the family of light. And I just want to read to you something that I wrote down that I think is inspirational and to bring us to the point where you can throw some questions at me. So let me read this. It's called Veils. Next to the earthly plane is found the veil of impulsion and the hall of concentration. To that succeeds the veil of distortion related to the world of glamour, as impulsion is to force. Beyond that veil is found the hall of choice, and there we find another veil, the veil of separation, and beyond it lies the hall of blinded men, blinded by light, but facing towards the final veil, the veil of aspiration. 4 veils, 3 halls, and many men. Needless, illusory fears and needless foreboding prayer. Let reality govern my every thought, and truth be the master of my life. I am blessed by the infinite spirit in all things. You live in eternity. You are infinite. Wake up. Questions?
Thank you, Michael. Yes, so let's open things up. We still have a little time left for any questions or comments or thoughts about what Michael has shared with us. Thank you, Michael. That was, it's wonderful for you to be able to really help us understand the connection with Indigenous wisdom. The more we know right now, the more we realize that we don't know about the gifts that we've been given, protecting our ecosystem, and of course, as we many of us have learned, the Indigenous hold a lot of the wisdom that we need to go back to. We've ignored it for too long. So let's see if anyone has their hand up here. I'm just going to go through the crowd quickly. Sarah, would you like to weigh in? I know you've worked with your dad for many, many years and have met many of the spiritual leaders and gifts to our world.
Sure. Can
There
you
you
hear
go.
me?
Yeah, we can.
So first of all, well, wonderful to see you, everyone. Happy Father's Day. And Dad, can you tell me what that prayer was from, the Veils?
Yeah, it's from Alice Bailey.
Is that from Glamour, A World
Yeah,
Problem? What
yeah.
page, if you may?
Oh, I'm good, but I'm not that good.
He'll send you
Oh,
the info later.
you didn't
Wait a
have it
minute.
there.
It's the 4th paragraph on page 23. No.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't have a chance to write it all down. So can you just say it again? If that's all right?
No, I'll send it to you. Don't worry. I'll
Okay,
send it to
wonderful.
you. Yeah,
Okay, because I do
yeah,
have the book handy. And
yeah.
yeah, I guess I thank you so much for sharing. And I just feel like an hour is not enough time to really get into the depth of it. I I would love for people to have an understanding or a curiosity about what engaging with these elders does to your life, how it turns the mundane into something magic. And when you were talking about that book, uh, by Stephen McFadden, I thought about the time that I found it in a free book box beside a prison, Dannemora, upstate New York. I was driving by with Eric, my partner, and I said, I saw a free book box. I said, turn around, turn around. He said, really? Like, do you have to stop at every one? And I said, well, this one, oh, pardon me, there I am. I said, this one's different. It's beside a prison. So I have to see, this is the high security prison where those inmates escaped from. And it just thought, there's something in there. There has to be. So we turn around, and the first book I see is How to Become Instagram Famous. And I had already gone viral on Instagram. No, that's not the book. And he's going, come on, let's go. It's such a beautiful day. Let's go enjoy it. And I said, there's something in here. Looking. And then I find that book. I nearly fell to my knees. And I open it, and who's on the first page? Grandfather William Commanda. And it had been bought in 1997 in New Hope, Pennsylvania for $13.77. The receipt was still in there. And I just, we'll be here another 3 hours if I start getting into the synchronicities. And I think that is one of the most exciting things of when you move from the material, the third dimensional, to working with people who say, hi, I'm Mayan, I come from the Pleiades. at first it may sound, really? And when you move from the mundane to the magic, as you said, you can't script it. Reality begins to crackle, it begins to sparkle. And one of the teachings from the Hawaiian elders, we were so fortunate to be able to go to Hawaii when Allura was just a baby. I remember it was the first time we heard Allura laugh, and we were really getting her going. That was on Maui. And the teachings of Huna is one of the things I discovered from connecting with the Hawaiian elders. And I really recommend everyone look into Huna, because one of the main principles is that the world is what you think it is, and energy flows where attention goes. Do you see something in the background? It's a bunny. There's a bunny over there. Anyway, the idea that this light, this magic, this beauty, looking into these teachings, looking into the awakening, connecting with the soul, it's just the tip of the iceberg. It's just the beginning of it. So I guess, yeah, Papa, I'd like to hear more from you about what your thoughts are on that, of the transformation from the mundane to the magic, or what, were you already aware of it, or some thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, as usual, you're an interesting subject. You sure are. Bless you. You put your finger on it. I mean, you put your finger on it. The idea. I mean, let's reflect on it like this. You know, when does a person get in touch with their intuition to the point that they begin to rely on their intuition? That's really the magic. There's the magic right there. But then when you contemplate the concept of magic, and then you begin to see, and that's what occurred to when Susan and I first got together. I was the regular lawyer and she was the regular nurse. But within a very short period of time, this whole red road opened up in front of us, the two of us. We share this journey together 33 years. And when you talk about magic, well, I can tell you of 33 years of magic. From the moment that Susan and I got together until this moment, there are so many examples. And you could say, oh, that's a coincidence, or, oh, that happened because this. No, 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 no. It's been magical steps. And it's like a roller coaster, because you're going through highs and lows. It's not as if everything is all yippee-ki-yay. No. But at certain points, certain incredible things happen. Like a condor can appear out of the blue, right? And remind you of the spirit world. Right away, you look at the condor, the magnificence, the majesty of it, and then the way that it glides through the sky, and it's just like it takes your breath away. And that's magic. It's happening to each and everyone here. It's a question of recognizing it and honoring it and opening up to the universe. The universe will deliver. What you said there back about Hawaii, what an experience that was. What an experience to be introduced to the whole concept of Ho'oponopono, which is, again, part of what Sarah was referring to. You know, have a look at Ho'oponopono and the Hawaiian tradition and their spirituality, which connects, again, synchronistically with Krishna, with Buddha, with Yeshua, with Grandfather William Command, with our Looking Horse, on and on and on and on. I bless the universe for allowing us to know the existence of magic. It's in every step that we took on the red road, and it was all opened up to us. Everything was opened up to us. When we came here, we were first on this property. We set foot on it. There was an eagle, not a condor, an eagle overhead, circling 3 times, chattering like, buy this place, but uh, and it just goes on and on and on and on. And I think if you all reflect deeply on your life, if you reflect on situations that have occurred to you, they appear to be miraculous. It's like my favorite title of a book, In Search of the Miraculous by Ouspensky. Like, what? Hey, why don't I make that my purpose? Why don't I make my purpose in search of the miraculous and the miracle of existence? I mean, I'm up front and pretty close to knowing what it means to be on the tippy top of maybe not staying. I went through that illness where I'm going, what the heck's going on here? But that was a miracle. It was a miracle because it opened up all sorts of things and introduces you to the concepts that you've been taught about love and compassion, surrender, all of those kinds of things. Every single day you're born. Every single night you die. I've been having dreams lately, like, oh my goodness, incredible, incredible dreams. Just blow away dreams. And that's a miracle. That's introducing you to the idea of multidimensionality and consciousness and how consciousness works and what we're really all about. Consciousness is something outside of you. It's something then comes inside of you. That's the deal about consciousness. Isn't that a miracle? I mean, think about that. Isn't that a miracle that there's something like a cosmic consciousness and a solar consciousness and an earthly consciousness, and that it's all informed by a cosmic consciousness, which some call God, Allah, creator, whatever you wish to put a label on it. And what Sarah said is correct. You are what you think. Reality is what you think. And so bringing discipline to your walk in your mind is the miracle that you're searching for.
So within that, I just want to guide this a little bit to assist some people with understanding, okay, so there's all these things that are happening in the third dimensional reality. There's all these opinions, ideas. For example, there's a big subject of cultural appropriation right now, right? That who are you to be speaking of this as a white man, or me, if I'm going to speak about this or teach about this? And so I want you to weave in a little bit about what Grandfather William's teaching was about the circle of all nations. And also to share with people a little bit about ceremony and what ceremony is, how to use ceremony. And one more thing, how does that tie into all the darkness that we're seeing on the world stage and everything that's playing out? So if someone wakes up in the morning and I say, let's do ceremony, and they say, no way, there's too much shit going on out there. I don't want to do that. I want to be angry. I want to stomp my foot and then get into traffic and yell at the guy that's cut them off. And so what's going on with all of this, right? So consciousness and connecting to this higher consciousness and ceremony, and no, you can't do that. I can do this. And how do we weave this in to what's going on and the idea of there's no time left. So why would we remove our energy from this darkness that we see and bring it into opening the circle and learning about ceremony?
Yeah, okay. I'll unpack that. Okay, first and foremost about the circle of all nations. So grandfather was the most ecumenical. I mean, I mentioned Per Murray back there, at the beginning being an ecumenical man. Well, Grandfather William Commanda was that 100 times, because from grandfather's perspective, there was no color. And from grandfather's perspective, all the colors of the world were humanity. And humanity was one. And that's why he always said one mind, one prayer, one soul, one direction, one ceremony, one. He was oneness. And so what does that reveal to you? The miracle of his existence. The miracle of his existence was that he was basically sent by elevated ones. Grandfather had a habit. He'd do this. When he was sitting there, he'd twiddle his thumbs. He'd twiddle his thumbs. And after having been with him so much in that 16 years of his existence with us, it came to me that it was his way of staying grounded, because he was really in another dimension. He really was operating in a spirit world. That's who grandfather really was. Grandfather operated in the spirit world. And then when he spoke, he was speaking words that came from the spirit world. And that's what was so exceptional about grandfather. And within that, he was totally humble. He exemplified humility. Oh my goodness. And it's an answer to the question that you just raised about confusion. Humility, humility, humility is the answer. In other words, not having an opinion about what's happening and staying with one's purpose and doing ceremony is really the answer. It takes away the confusion and the chaos. Now, moving to the second part about the idea of ceremony and why ceremony is so vital and important. Why is ceremony so vital and important is because it's an honoring. It's a taking time to stop the mind from roosting on whatever it's roosting on, and then getting outside of self to honor and respect the elements, the creator, existence, all of the things that are essentially, again, gifted to us, but we don't pay enough attention to. So taking tobacco and saying, no, this tobacco is a prayer. And I'm going to take this tobacco, I'm not going to treat it and roll it up into a cigarette and smoke it and try and kill myself. But no, I'm going to take the tobacco and I'm going to take it out of the cigarette and I'm going to offer it to the Mother Earth as a prayer of honor and respect. And I'm going to use the elements that allow me to say the prayer, to do the prayer, to be the prayer, to be the prayer. So that's what ceremony essentially is, to be the prayer. What's a sacred fire? The sacred fire, what does it represent? The sacred fire represents the physical sun, but really the spiritual sun that lies behind the physical sun. And so the sacred fire, when we do a circle around a sacred fire and we take tobacco and sage and we offer it to the fire, what we're doing again is honoring and respecting the creative force. And we step outside ourselves and we become one with the circle, with the fire, with the sun, with the sacred sun, and with all the elevated beings. Corey and Stacy and I, we work together as one mind. It's an incredible experience. We work on Indigenous constitutional questions together. The three of us are like one mind, and we have no separation. The synthesis is incredible. And it's all about this concept of oneness. And if your purpose is to search for the miraculous, you'll find it within. And when you find it within, then the answers come. And then the big friction question you posited about a white man talking about indigenosity, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Well, luckily for us, grandfather adopted us as his family. So my creed, my credence and my credibility, it's better than my law degree. I get to say, I worked with grandfather William Commanda. He blessed me. So you go ahead and say whatever you want to say, because I have the blessing of grandfather William Commanda, and I get to walk with that the rest of my eternity. The rest of my eternity. Now talk about miracles. Talk about a miracle. So it's all within the framework of that understanding that everything's flowing from right here, from the heart. And when we begin to think from the heart rather than from the head, then it all comes together. And then don't let the bastards get you down. Never mind the confusion. It's just not worth your time. It's not worth your time. The only thing that's worth your time is commitment to your purpose. That's it. I hope I answered your question.
Thank you, Michael. And thank you, Sarah. I'm sorry I threw you in the fire there to see, because I knew that you'd have some things to share, and I think it really opened up, new dimensions in what Michael has been able to share with us. So much appreciated. Thank you, everyone. Michael, it made me think about how the Indigenous people really pass down their knowledge verbally from one generation to the next. And in a way, that's what you're doing with us. And so you're empowering us to sort of share the awakening you had, and maybe even have a little bit of our own. So thank you so much for helping us with this today once again. So let's move on. Before wrapping things up, let's maybe reflect on some of the values of love, compassion, and forgiveness that Michael and grandfather William Commanda hold as the key to really the future of humanity, the future of our souls. And we'll do that with the mantra of unification.
You have two hands up. Susan first and then Michelle.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't. They must have gone up right at the very last moment there. So go ahead, Sue.
Thank you. Gail's is up too, so I'll start out
Okay.
now.
All right, great.
Thank you, Michael, for all that you shared today. I only have to correct you on one thing. I was never a regular nurse. And so I was hanging out with you, so that is clear probably to everybody anyhow. Anyway, and I just want to say that what a gift it has been, the journey you describe. And anyone who knows me knows that my passion is working with the angelic realm and in those arenas, if you will, and how much the Indigenous path has been helpful in really grounding ceremony, ritual, and that way of connecting with spirit. So they're not really, apart or different. It's just sort of where you focus your attention. And I just see the huge gift that ceremony has been as a way to connect, because as Sarah said, or sort of pointed to, is starting your day, connecting in this way with the invisible realm in whatever way that you do it is the best way as far as I can see, because the mundane world isn't where we're going to find our peace and our love and our compassion and our strength to carry on in the face of the way of the world, if you will. So just wanted to add that in, and thank you for your talk today. Turning it over to Michelle.
I was just remembering the first time I heard about Indigenous spirituality was when were doing that interview with Reiner. And I have a friend who is Indigenous, and he used to practice the spirituality more before I met him. And I've known him for 24 years. Like when he was young, he used to do like these ceremonies, meditation, stuff like that. And I guess the world got to him. But the first time I heard a lot about, like more about Indigenous spirituality was through your interview. And it actually, I guess, gave me the knowledge to turn to that because everything else was kind of not, like I couldn't relate to it. In like the West, we have the dominant religion to be Christianity, and that's what I grew up with. And so this was something completely new to me, and it brought me into the, spiritual practices and wanting to learn more about it. I would think that, I lost my train of thought. Oh, yes. I was thinking are there like ways that we could expand Indigenous spirituality in, like, I think that we could work together with the religion, the dominant religion here, because I've seen that with when I was I went to that presentation with Indigenous elder and the Mennonite preacher who were working together and made this the secret treaty. It's like a comic book in that presentation. So I think that it is possible for the two to work together and kind of collaborate and spread this knowledge that I think is very much needed, especially now.
Yeah, there's no doubt that, and it's happening. It's happening all over the place. What you just described, the coming together, if you will, of religious leaders and elders, and conducting ceremony together, and it's definitely possible. And again, it's back to the teaching of one mind, one heart, one soul, one prayer. It's an acknowledgement, if you will, that we're all one. And so that's where the ground is level. There's no dogma. There's no teaching that has to prevail, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's just now coming to the realization that we're one as humanity. And that's what grandfather was teaching about the circle of all nations. He was showing to his own people resented the fact that white people were coming to this gathering that he was holding. But over the course of time, he won his people over. But more importantly, he demonstrated by opening up the circle of all nations to all nations around the sacred fire. This was his way. So you're putting your finger on exactly what Grandfather William Commanda stood for, exactly what it is that he wanted to teach. And he agrees with you. It is possible to demonstrate to others that this is meaningful to humanity. And yes, I deeply encourage what you're talking about, because that's the way it's got to be. Gail.
Thank you so much, Michael. I just want to say a big thank you for introducing me to Grandfather William Commanda many years ago. And I think there needs to be another follow-up here from you, Michael, maybe with a little more information about ceremony and yeah, that sort of thing. There's so much to be said. I could listen to you all day, actually, to tell you the honest truth. And yeah, it's really nice to understand that we are star people and that we're all together, no matter where we are. And that really hit home for me today. It was like, wow, okay. And yeah, I'll just leave it at that. But wow, and I love you both so much. And even though we don't see each other, I know we're there. And so it's just lovely. And Grandfather William was just such a light. I didn't know him, and because of you, I did know him. And I went there and I saw you, Sue, and I'm like, what are you doing here? It was one of those moments. And then I kept going back, and it's just amazing, really. And I can feel the love and the intention. I'm such a feeler anyways, so I can really, really, really feel all the love in your heart. And yes, and this morning I was just saying to Claude, we have to go from here to here, from the head to the heart, not the mind, the heart. And I keep saying that, and I almost do that on a daily basis. So thank you for your wisdom and your knowledge and sharing, Michael. And I'm so glad that your health is better. It's been a journey and a half, I'm sure. Yeah, I know. Anyway, we'll see you later, guys. Thanks so much.
Thanks a lot, Gail. Corey.
I'm doing my best to choose the spiritual path, but I'll admit I still need coffee to find it in the morning. And I have a few crutches, actually, to get me through the day, to tell you the truth. But I just wanted to say it's great to be here, and thanks, Michael, for the presentation. And it's great to see everybody too, Sue, Greg, everyone.
Yeah,
So,
thank you, Corey.
Have a wonderful Sunday.
Thank you. Nancy
Thanks.
also has her hand up. Nancy? There you are.
I don't know if you guys can hear me. Can you?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
perfectly.
So I've never been able to get my video to work for some reason whenever I'm on these calls. Michael, a heartfelt thanks. I love you and Sue so deeply. And I concur with what everybody said. I could listen to you all day. I just wanted to share a very simple example in real life time of what all you've shared today. I think for me, it encapsulates it. And there is ceremony, there's bringing the mind into the heart, the wisdom of the cosmic father and the wisdom of the cosmic mother in every thought, word, and action. And that can be embodied in some of the most simple ways that expand the light from within each of us to anybody that we might encounter. And here's the little story. It just came, so I was prompted to share. I was just in the grocery store yesterday picking out some peaches, and this gentleman was standing next to me doing the same thing. And he started up a conversation about he was a farmer, and there was a local farm where the peaches were lovely in season. And from that conversation, we got talking about food. And he said, I'm Muslim. And we got talking about meat and the difference between halal. And I used to be partnered with a lovely man who is Jewish. So we got comparing, things about how meat is prepared in those two cultures. And he looks at me and he said, but essentially, we're all the same. He was specifically saying between the Jewish and the Muslim culture, he said there's so much that we share in common. And I said to him, yes, I agree 100%. Some of my family follow the Muslim faith. I was partnered with somebody who's Jewish. So personally, I agree 100%. And we got talking about specifics. And he said, essentially, we all follow the same God. You can call up, as you were saying, Michael, we call him Allah, Creator, God. And there was this beautiful connection over picking out peaches and how the conversation evolved. And at the end, I said, I put my hand over my heart, and then I extended my hand to him and I said, my name's Nancy. And I hope he forgives me, I can't remember his name, but he said, all the noise around us from political realms and all these things, he said, that's not where it's at. He says, it's us connecting one-on-one as human beings. That's how we shift and change. And I said to him, I couldn't agree more. He walked away, I walked away. And the shift in energy, if there's a manifestation of love energy that you can tactically and sensorily feel, it's in those kind of moments of, to quote your words, Sarah, it's like from the mundane to the magic. So the mundaneness of picking out peaches, encountering a person, it was synchronicity, it was the magic in one simple, everyday, mundane of doingness, transformed into the magic of beingness and being of light and love. And one mind, one heart, one love, one energy. And personally, I think we do ritual, we do the discipline practices of whatever works for each individual to build that light, love, wisdom energy within us. And then that energy splays out into the universe. And that's, to me, the awakening. So that was my little share for today. Thank you again, Michael, and to all who are fathers. Happy Father's Day and blessings to you all.
Wow. Thanks, Nancy. That's really quite incredible.
Really is. Just a beautiful example of that connection that we all need to make. Does anyone else have any comments, questions? I think we're all satisfied, Michael, and we need to give your voice a rest. This is a big workout for your vocal cords today. So thank you. Sue, would you like to help us wrap up with the mantra of unification before we talk about the next session? So
My
Sue will put it
pleasure.
on the screen for us
I
so we
got
can all read along.
it. Okay. The mantra of unification. The souls of all are one, and I am one with them. I seek to love, not hate. I seek to serve and not exact due service. I seek to heal, not hurt. Let pain bring due reward of light and love. Let the soul control the outer form and life and all events, and bring to light the love which underlies the happenings of the time. Let vision come and insight. Let the future stand revealed. Let inner union demonstrate and outer cleavages be gone. Let love prevail. Let all people love. Miigwech. Amen. Namaste. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today here on Zoom, and also those who watch on our YouTube channel. Our website is www.soulschoolnetwork.com. Next Sunday Circle is on July the 5th. Sue, could you give us a quick idea of what Jennifer Gerhardt is going to share with us and how we can participate?
Well, thank you, Greg. This is very exciting. So, Jennifer is going to interpret dreams. So, I'm going to be sending out an email to our subscribers and inviting you to submit your dream before the end of the month. I'll give you the deadline and I'll give you the email address. And Jennifer is going to do her best, depending on how many she gets, she will interpret them live on our session, July the 5th. And that's going to be a whole lot of fun. She's a super interesting person, so stay tuned for that.
Thank you, Sue. And if people want to bribe their way in, do you have a bank account you want them to send the money to?
Would that be
No, I
you,
guess
Greg?
not.
We'll put yours first. How about that? You've got some interesting
No,
dreams.
I do, but no, I don't. I'm joking, of course, about the bribery part. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today, and we'll see you in 2 weeks on the 5th of July.
Thank you, everybody.